Good morning. Welcome to Awakening Truth Sunday morning meditation. My name is Kat, and I have Brian here with me.
Good
We
morning.
are going. Good morning.
Good.
We are going to get started this morning with a short Dharma talk. So I invite you to get settled into your space and kind of calm the nervous system down wherever you are. Even if you're walking, start to bring the awareness into your body. And as you do this, start to feel the aliveness of your body, whatever it feels like. If you're sitting, if you're doing some activity while you're watching this, I invite you to pause for a moment and stop the movement and be right here in this moment. And as you land into this experience, you start to feel, well, what is it like to be human, be in a body? Excuse me for my voice. It's waking up here. And as you start to notice what it feels like to be in the body, you start to come into this experience of what is happening. There are all these systems in the body. And often in our practice of meditation, there is an experience of, well, where is my focus? Right? And for each of us, that is very different. And often the Buddha spoke about having that anchor point in the practice. And for each of us, he spoke about having that personal understanding of what is our own direct experience. For some of us, we've come to the practice from perhaps a Vipassana. You've heard that word Vipassana. That is a strong focus on the breath. Or maybe you came in through a lineage, or maybe you're new to Buddhism, right? If you came in through a lineage, it would be Zen, Tibetan, Theravadan. Excuse me. And for those of us that came in kind of more generically, maybe it's something where you're like, I don't know what Buddhism is about. I'm learning about it. Or you don't even know, perhaps if you came to this recording, if you know what Buddhism is. And that's a beautiful thing too. So as we experience the body, wherever we come to meditation from, we experience something directly for us, something authentic. And for me, I was outside a lot with the dust. So I think that's why I have some dustiness in my throat this morning. And that is my direct experience. It's okay. So what happens when we move into the direct experience is we start to see that the body has ways that it regulates itself. It will move into an emotion and it'll be outside of regulation or inside of regulation. It will move into adrenaline because some car rushes by when we're walking, right? So the body has ways that it responds. And we, as the person, the being inhabiting that, have a perspective of it. So I'd like you to start to listen to the breath, but you'll do it while you're listening to the cognition of what I'm saying, right? And there's this kind of skill or way of being in meditation where you can hold two things at once. And this is a skill you can develop over time. And I believe it is a very valuable skill because it allows you to be in two things at once so that you can feel the fullness of your direct experience. So practice doing this with me here while you listen to me talk. Be in your body. Be in your breath in your body while I'm speaking. So you're listening to the body and you feel the breath come in through the nostrils or through another form. Maybe you're outside walking and your mouth's a little open. Where is the breath coming in? And as I'm speaking about the breath, notice if the body has gentle movement or if the body is still. And as you watch the breath, watch my words. How are they cognizing in you? Do you have an association with a word I'm saying? Right? So there's a thinking process and there's a feeling or kinesthetic process happening at the same time. Notice if this is a hard skill for you, if it's causing dissonance when I say it, or if it's something you're like, I really like to do more of this. This is your direct experience. This is what I'm referring to. So that as you work with the breath, you know that I need to focus on the one thing, or it is helpful for me to do another practice with it and work on that skill of holding two experiences together. So we'll practice this with another one. I want you to notice what you're hearing right now in your space outside of my voice. What are you hearing? Are there distant sounds? Are there close in sounds? And then notice your breath with that. So in this way, there's the experience of sound and breath. And you know, as the belly or the chest moves with breath, which one is it for you? This is a natural breath, whatever is happening for you in the moment. And you can treat it like an ordinary day, right? You're in a work meeting or you're talking to your spouse and you drop into your body, listening to them speak, and I'm in my body. What changes, right? Well, I'll tell you what changes is this experience for myself of all of a sudden, I get to know what I'm available for with them. Am I listening? Am I distracted? Am I experiencing something that's stronger than what they're trying to tell me? Does it make me less available because when I hear them, I have too much happening inside? But instead of just hitting the surface of what they had to say, maybe I can say, I need a moment to take a breath, to come back to what you're saying. Can you give me a moment? Right? And then let's do the taste. So we're eating a delicious meal, right? But perhaps we're not really tasting it and we're not really noticing our breath. Because when we breathe, we can't be breathing while we eat in the same way because we might choke on the food, or if we're talking while we're eating, right? Maybe that's happened to us. And so to be able to do two things at once, it takes slowing down, kind of noticing it. And this ability to be mindful of the breath in any experience throughout the day, I invite you to notice, what is the quality, right? The quality of my perspective. Is it more open? Is it kind of fixated? There's no judgment on these ways of being. It's just a qualitative understanding, building the awareness. So I taste that bite of food, that dinner, and I notice that as I eat, my breathing regulates to how I'm eating, right? It might feel like a very intense experience if I'm very fixated on the breath while I'm eating. But what if I notice my breath as something in my environment, right? That I'm eating, I'm very aware of my eating, and my breath is supported by sitting at the table, noticing what's happening in my experience, dispersing my awareness, if that makes sense. So sometimes we'll set long retreats, and a lot of what we do is we focus on, all the flavors. And maybe we've never experienced that much aliveness in the taste. But it's not an ordinary experience when we go back home and we're thinking about other things or planning our day while we're eating, right? But is there a way to still be mindful, but let it be dispersed, right? So that there's some kind of bridge between those moments when we're very mindful and when we're caught up in our world and our busyness, right? And I believe that world can be bridged between that fixation and that fully like immersed in my busyness by this awareness of the environment. So now we're going to move into the last skill of working with the breath. And that is the internal breath with the external breath. So the world is doing its thing, right? And we're sitting here breathing, right? And so let's consider this body of the earth, the trees, the rocks, the rivers, the animals, the breath, right? We'll call this Gaia. And as Gaia breathes, and we breathe with Gaia, there is a different experience. And I'd like you to try this on for yourself, and I will too this month. Go outside and just witness your breath with the breathing of Gaia. And just notice what happens. And so, what's different when you start to see internal with external is, are you in sync? Are you out of sync? Maybe it doesn't, maybe there's a harmony. It doesn't have to be in unison. Maybe there's some other play, right? Maybe you're by water. There's a lot of movement in the breath of Gaia. Maybe you're in a field where there's no wind. It's just still, right? And so your breath is very smooth or very staccato. So you really feel the contrast, right? Whatever it might be. So I invite you to go into nature. It could be even in a city. You find the Gaia in the city. Is there a bird pattering by in the city? And when you're in the energy of Gaia with the breath of your body, what happens? So that's the invitation from this Dharma today. Is start to explore the inner breath with the Gaia breath, the living breath of the earth, and see, what is there to explore. And I invite you at the end of this exploration to set an intention around the rest of your day or some period of time that feels right to you. What would your intention be? So for myself, I did this with Amma, one of the founders of Awakening Truth, why Brian and I are here. And we were sitting in the redwoods, and it's such a beautiful place where she lives in Northern California. And there can be moss by these large redwoods, and you can sit right up against them. They're very soft. Right? And they're also they've been there a long time. And as you sit under a mossy redwood, there's something kind of, I'll say, just like very grooved. Like the physical experience of a redwood is like they're very thick grooves, they're deep grooves. And so they kind of just give you a nice massage. Like if you just rest your back on one, you don't have to do anything, and you're feeling the edges of all that growth over many years. And it can kind of feel kind of strong, right? Like pushing in your back. And maybe feel that too, like, oh, I don't quite like this. But if I can relax other parts of myself around it and maybe enjoy getting my backs, it's not all pleasant. And the breath of the tree is that it's grown a lot. It's been there a long time. And the breath of me is a lot less, right? So if I just notice that contrast and just notice the physical contrast, I am very squishy. This is very hard, right? And then relax into the contrast, open to the contrast. And then that unpleasant feeling starts to disperse out because it invites both experiences together, right? And this is the skill of internal, external, softening the heart to it, opening the heart to it, and going, oh, yeah, I am unique from nature and also a part of nature. And nature is going to come up against me and kind of challenge me to experience this Gaia breath, this movement of life force right up against me. It can be a lot. And also very awakening and alive and very kind of energizing in that way. So it was a little longer talk, but I invite you to go back to your body now. Go back to your breath and see what that's like right here while I'm speaking, this present moment.
Thank you. Thank you, Kat. Thank you. And good morning, everyone. So we're going to do a meditation, a guided meditation. We're going to focus on the breath. And so right now, just kind of settle in. Meditation posture. Maybe start with nice, big, long, deep breath in. And breathing out a long breath. In this meditation, we're going to work with the breath, bringing the internal breath to the external experience. We'll start with 3 sounds of the bell. And just notice the external sound of the bell resonating with your internal breath. Breathing in, know you are breathing in. Breathing out, know you are breathing out. Wherever you feel the breath in your body, stay with the full draw of the breath in, and the full draw of the breath out. Feel the beginning, the middle, and the end of the in-breath in, and the gap between the in-breath and the exhale breath. The beginning, middle, and end of the exhale breath. And just notice how the in-breath dissolves into the out-breath, and the out-breath dissolves into the in-breath. And let the breath be natural. And just be curious about the breath right now. Just notice the quality of the breath in this moment. Is the breath warm, cool? Is it smooth or rough? No two breaths are the same, just like no two snowflakes are the same. And take a moment to just notice the temperature of the breath. Is the temperature of the in breath maybe a little cooler than the temperature of the out breath? Taking in the outside world with our in breath and noticing how the body may heat up the out breath. Notice the humidity or moisture in the breath, the change of the humidity of the in breath with the humidity of the out breath. How the in breath takes in maybe drier air and adds its humidity, its moisture, and temperature to the out breath. Being in the internal body and the external body. In Gaia, breath all around us, taking it in our experience, placing our attention on the in breath and the out breath. Ever dynamic, ever changing quality of our breath, allowing our body intelligence to speak to us, being with our experience. And being with our experience, notice any distractions. Notice the distractions with unconditional friendliness, non judgmental awareness. Distractions almost like a welcoming bell of mindfulness, bringing us back to our body, where we hold these two experiences in the body and outside of the body in harmony. Staying with the full draw of the breath in and the full draw of the breath out. As we drop deeper into our body, feel the relaxation of our body. Feel the space the body occupies. The space we are occupying on this earth, our sacred space. Allowing the relaxation of the body into the foreground of our attention, and the breath ever so present in the background, holding these two in harmony. Notice the inner landscape of the body, ever dynamic, slight changes they may be, changing with the in breath, the out breath, constantly aware of the slightest little things going on. We get distracted, just come back home to ourselves, coming back home with our breath. Notice the full aliveness of when we wake up from little distractions, coming back to ourselves. Breath in harmony with our inner landscape of the body, body relaxed. We become very tuned in to any feelings or emotions that are just stirring. not paying much attention to the thinking, but just noticing the sensations that are present. Is there this slight tension or warmth or tightness or relaxation? Just noticing whatever is present. A continuous process of coming home. And where is our attention right now? Just noting this is our practice. Balance of the internal and the external. The balance of the internal breath with the body and the external environment. Being with all of these as we are in our life. Making it our direct experience, our practice of clear seeing, clear perception, our mindfulness, our heartfulness. And as we sit with our breath and our body, experiencing up the inner landscape of the body and the external world, notice any sounds in the world around us or the absence of sound. Just taking it in. Just being the observer of what is going on. our full sense of this moment. Where is our attention now? If it's in the breath, in the body, or lost in thought, just bring it back, gently bringing it back. With practice, we are unconditionally friendly with ourselves. When we inhabit our body, being with our inner breath, our out breath, being with our inner landscape, we take care of our future by taking care of the present moment, cultivating the present moment. Because the present moment is the only moment we truly have that's alive. But cultivating the present moment, it becomes easily accessible, refuge, always available. We can't live in the past. We can't live in the future. Just the present moment, cultivating the present moment and bringing it into our experience to make it easily accessible as we go through our lives, our daily day. And bringing our attention to the quietness of our breath. If our breath is very quiet at this moment, just noticing its presence in the background, our attention still there. With light attention, noticing the breath that is always present, and at the same time dropping into this deeper space, this deeper reality of full aliveness in harmony with our inner landscape and our external world, the interface interaction between them. Just dropping in deeply. And in a few moments, I will invite the bell. Just take this time to just maybe feeling our toes, slowly bringing our attention to our hands and our shoulders, and just making little rotations for our shoulders or our neck, just coming really alive with the body, and making this our practice to take these sacred pauses throughout the day. A simple breath, a simple footstep, slowing down a little, staying with our presence. And I'll invite the bell. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Brian. Mhm.